It's strange and sad to be writing yet another administration piece to camera, but within less than a month, a second Premiership club has fallen victim. Alongside Worcester Warriors back in September, Wasps have also found themselves in financial hardship that's resulted in serious ramifications. With reports now confirmed that the Coventry side will no longer be able to honour their Round 6 fixture against Exeter Chiefs, administration is all but confirmed. With talks of wages being up in the air, it's an unknown and scary time for anyone affiliated with the club, and Catch-22 wishes all the very best for staff, players and fans caught up in the situation. But how did one of rugby's biggest and most iconic teams fall into the situation? I'm Benny from Catch-22 Rugby, and we bring you up to speed on what's been happening at Wasps. A bit of background for those not in the loop. Wasps are one of the most famous rugby clubs not just in England, but in world rugby. Their origins go way back to 1866. Wasps were originally part of Hampstead Football Club in London, but after one season, a large group of club members left to found a new club. The new club became Wasps, and the existing club behind in Hampstead became the Harlequins, both which share a famous rivalry that would span a century and beyond. During that time, Wasps were primarily a London-based team basing themselves at Finchley Road, Sudbury, Loftus Road and eventually High Wycombe. During their time in the south, Wasps won 12 major honours that included 6 Premiership titles and 2 European titles, firmly cementing their legacy of one of rugby's greatest teams. And when you've had the likes of Lawrence Alalio, Josh Lucy, Matt Dawson and Joe Lauderdale playing for you, your list of players and alumni would definitely catch eyes. Come 2014, Wasps dropped their London roots and swapped the capital for Coventry, as the Ricoh Arena became the home of the black and yellow brand. A controversial move for some, many London-based supporters ended their association with the side as a near 3-hour round journey became too much for many. But Wasps soldiered on, developing a new reputation in the Midlands to challenge Northampton and Leicester Tigers for local superiority. Although not as successful as their time in London, the now Coventry side did have some close calls with runners at Premiership medals in 2017 and 2020. But how do things go so wrong for Wasps? Just like Worcester, it comes down to money. Unlike Worcester, the total amount of debt looks more daunting, with an estimated 90 million outstanding for the London-cum-Midlands side. While that amount also includes 2 million owed in unpaid taxes, a large chunk of it can be linked directly to their relocation to Coventry, 35 million to be exact. Funnily enough, this isn't Wasps' first brush with the threat of administration, and goes to explain the rationale behind their relocation and eventual debt of 35 million. Around 10 years ago, back in London, Wasps were not in a healthy financial position, leaking around £3 million a year, and with a tenancy at Adams Park draining any profit away from the club, drastic change had to occur. In an adapt or die scenario, Wasps did what they could to get out of Adams Park, but the best option on the table from a financial and facilities perspective was an unpopular one. Doing the unthinkable for a UK sports team, Wasps adopted an NFL franchise approach, taking the club 80 miles north to a brand new location, the 33,000 capacity Ricoh Arena in Coventry. But how does a financially struggling club become the landlord of a massive new stadium? Well, they took out a bond. For those not clued up on money talk, a bond is quite similar to a loan, with a few differences. In Wasps' case, they took £35 million from a lender which allowed them to buy their way into the Ricoh Arena. But rather than paying repayments on a monthly basis, Wasps would have to return the entire lump sum of £35 million by a set deadline many years down the line. Wasps still had to pay interest to the lender, but the amount was significantly lower than having to pay back the additional monthly instalments. It's been over 8 years since Wasps relocated to Coventry, and the deadline to pay back that £35 million is fast approaching. It's clear they do not have the money. Not helped by ongoing squabbles with their fellow stadium sharers Coventry City Football Club, spats over the condition of the stadium pitch also went public. Coventry City had to cancel 2 football matches at the Ricoh Arena and put blame solely on their landlords Wasps, who hadn't kept the playing surface up to standard following rugby activities. Although dire, the situation at Wasps does seem to differ from Worcester. First off, the club higher-ups aren't as incompetent as the Worcester owners Goldring and Whittingham, who steered the Warriors straight into an iceberg. Wasp executives Vaughan and Holland appeared to be more transparent, with club staff commentating that the pair's honesty throughout as being impeccable. While Worcester's assets were split over several different companies, for example, Wasps appears slightly more organised under a singular company, Wasps Holding Limited. Secondly, the list of potential buyers willing to financially save Wasps appear more plentiful. Interest from former Newcastle owner Mike Ashley has made airwaves, but a promising consortium led by David Armstrong appears more realistic. Rumours suggesting they could offer $62 million to take on Wasps and its debts. But the downside? It's not as simple as turning up and handing over the money. Negotiations take time. Many of the potential buyers will only consider Wasps if they can hold on to their stakes in the Gallagher Premiership. These P stakes, as they're referred to, allow Wasps to hold on to any earnings made through the league itself. Potential buyers also have a short time frame to get their offers together. As the deadline on Wasp payments approaches, Wasps have declared their intention to enter administration, an action that will see them relegated from the Gallagher Prem. As explained in our last video, administration is the process where clubs are taken over by court-appointed officials whose sole objectives are to navigate and steady the financial situation. Other priorities such as playing rugby stop during this process. Administrators assess all the options to balance the books, from seeking new buyers to potentially shutting shop forever, selling assets away to pay off the debts. By declaring their intention to enter administration slightly earlier, the hope had been for Wasps to stall for time while potential buyers came forward. That doesn't appear to have happened, however, as the cancelled Exeter game all but confirms that outcome. Hope does still remain. If Wasps can come out of administration with a new owner, the side can bounce back from the championship and look at a premiership return within a year or so. But the possibility does remain, if any deal fails to materialise, Wasps could find themselves just like Worcester, spiralling out of rugby altogether, meeting the same fate as London Welsh before them. I've been Benny from Catch 22 Rugby, and we'll see you in the next one.